Go ahead, Ellen. All you gotta do is believe. Whatever your mind conceive, my Straight Dog family, you gotta achieve. You will achieve. And it's time for me to say good night. Good night, St. Kitts and Nevis. Good night to the entire Caribbean region. Good night to the world. I know we are on the World Wide Web, so we reach our diaspora all over the world. Some of you are in Africa. Some of you are in Asia. Some of you are in Europe, and I know a whole lot of you are in North America celebrating your federal holiday today to mark Martin Luther King Jr. Day, you know. And my Straight Dog family, if you are joining me for the first time, we do always have first timers. So I want to apprise you, I want to inform you that Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, we do have a forum to express yourselves freely. So let us in the process continue to keep St. Kitts and Nevis as one of the freest, imagine, one of the freest countries in the world. I'm reviewing that particular position. I'll tell you some more about that. But let's say good night as well to our Win FM posse. I understand times that Sugar City FM is with us. I'm not certain if they are tonight, but wherever you are in the world tonight, I say greetings. For those in the diaspora, I can say good morning. I will say good night, and I know I'm at liberty to say good afternoon because one of such greetings would be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. And as I was going to say, the program is Straight Talk is a program on which we try to raise the level of national consciousness. We try to raise the level of national discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. And my thesis tonight I've entitled The Oath of Office is Solemn Commitment. And you know, my captions, my titles seem to be creating some problems for some people. But, you know, when we as political leaders take our oath of office, I believe, or I should say I know, that it represents or should represent a commitment to uphold and affirm the fundamental principles of our country, as well as to uphold our Constitution, more importantly. And the St. Kitts Nevis Constitution is a solemn document, solemnly sworn to uphold the rule of law, to protect our democracy, and to act in the best interests of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, to act in the best public interests. Normally and firstly, we dispense of our sundry minor yet important matters of different kinds. And I went to a funeral today. I attended the funeral today of the late Mrs. Yvonne Gill this morning, up Birdrock, I should say. She was interred today, and again, we do extend condolences to her husband, Mr. Norman Gill, and Dario, and the entire family. And I was saddened as well when I heard the news of the passing of my dear family, Baby Lou, of Douglas Street in Newtown. And we do want to extend sympathy as well to her daughter Misha and all her daughters, as a matter of fact, and her sister Trifina, and her other sisters, her brother Rudy, Claude, and other brothers. And we know that's a loss that's going to be felt quite profoundly. We also extend condolences to Dr. Ismet Taylor of Frigate Bay, whose husband passed away just after his 95th birthday. Her husband, Herman Taylor, he was at least had 4 school years and 15, if that's correct. And we extend condolences to her son, his son, I can't remember his name at this time, but his daughter Yvonne and Kenneth Taylor, we know him as Baylor's, a former national goalkeeper. I vaguely recall, we always have this issue, but I vaguely recall I scored him. I'm not going to dispute that. But in terms of our sundry minor matters as well, the issue of COVID or COVID-19 or a variant of COVID is causing some havoc here in St. Kitts. I don't have the facts, so I won't speak much more about it. I spoke to the special advisor in the Ministry of Health sometime last week, Thursday. He did bring me up to speed in terms of the Omicron variant, which he says is a flu. But my people, he also referred me to CMO Dr. Laws, but I didn't have the opportunity or the chance, the time to really touch base with her. But we just hope and pray that things won't deteriorate, but practice the same old measures we learnt about, my people. And we have heard the news as well, and some alarms have been raised about some post-surgery deaths at the JN France Hospital. I must hasten to add that I have not confirmed them, so I'll be very cautious to say much more than that. But if this news has veracity, then we ought to be concerned. There's some calls for the removal of even the portfolio of the incumbent Minister of Health, Prime Minister Jew. And health needs a minister on its own. I believe that Dr. Jew at some time will be overwhelmed with health and national security and finance and social security, and the list goes on, but I guess in time he will learn. We want to observe as well as something that came to the attention of Straight Talk is the issue of fees at the Clarence Fitzroy Brand College. I have some information, but I'm not going to impart it until I can really get some clarification in terms of whether these fees are payable, or as the Prime Minister said that very early, that all fees have been dropped at the Clarence Fitzroy Brand College. So again, I will try to get more clarification on this matter, even though I have this document outlining the fees for certain courses. And we are awaiting with abated breath, and in particular those of our sisters and brothers across the channel, across the Narrows, there in Nevis. Things have seemed to have gone rather quiet in recent times, but we are awaiting with abated breath the tabling of the NIA budget. Minister of Finance and Premier Brantley, the last time he tabled the budget, he had a $98 million deficit. So it will be interesting to see what turnaround was made, if any, the turnaround will be made in the 2022-2023 budget it's 23 budget, because it's now 2023, and after a period of time he must seek the parliamentary approval to spend money, and it doesn't seem as if he have much money over there to spend. But we'll wait and see what a budget will look like by the NIA over there in Nevis. We wait and see what Brantley will advance for the people in Nevis. There's still some issues we have not got confirmation or information on. The MSR Media Limited, what in terms of the procurement or the purchase of the Ocean Terrace Inn Hotel. Not much information has not come from neither Drew or Brantley. We know that the NIA or the Nevis Island Administration has been paying them a $400,000 fee per month. We don't know if that continues, and we still have not got a response to our question from Prime Minister Drew in terms of what contribution, if any, is being made by St. Kitts in terms of the MSR Media Limited. You know, that owner came here with an empty briefcase, but in 2 years, he's buying the Ocean Terrace Inn Hotel. And we're happy for TDC to get it off their books. It was a losing asset. So it's good to see that it's going to be taken off their books, hopefully at a good cost, a good price, beg your pardon. And still in secrecy is the lease or sale of the Vance Amory International Airport. We know what's happening over there. And as well, we haven't heard from the National Bank or the government in relation to that $130 million debt forgiveness that's been spoken about for the Christopher Harbour. We haven't forgotten it. The National Bank Board, the Managing Director, Terence Crosman, is silent, but we are waiting and watching, I can assure you. We've heard of the CBI reduction in fees, or not fees actually, CBI reduction in costs of one program. We hope they're not going, as they said before, to the race to the bottom. But those are our observations for tonight. And as I said, our dissertation tonight relates to and is titled or entitled "The Oath of Office is Solemn Commitment." My Straight Talk family, since we last had a conversation, to be exact, since last week Thursday, and you recall that we spoke about the protection of freedom of expression. And I must still say to you that I am still subject to that ex parte injunction which was filed by one Garth Lucien Wilkin. But I have been doing some reflection as the days have gone along. I am still restrained to say nothing about the terms of that agreement, and as a law-abiding citizen, I will not be in contempt with the court. No way, on no day. But I've been doing some reflection and engaged in some introspection, self-introspection. And I reflected that there is an annual global report on political rights and civil liberties called Freedom in the World. And it is comprised of numerical ratings and descriptive texts for 195 countries and some 15 territories, a select group of 15 territories. And the 2022 edition, covers developments in St. Kitts and Nevis, and it listed, as I said, countries and territories, some 195 countries and some 15 territories. St. Kitts and Nevis has a history of credible elections, it reads, and civil liberties are generally upheld in St. Kitts according to the report. The report also suggested that there are some concerns about government corruption and transparency, but credited the authorities with success in addressing the once high rate of violent crime, and rightly so, as homicides were reduced from a high of 36 homicides under the Douglas Labour administration to a low of 11 homicides under the Timothy Harris-led Team Unity administration. From the Kennedy Simmons administration, it is accepted wisdom that we live in one of the freest countries in the world. Yes, here in St. Kitts, it is accepted that we live in one of the freest countries in the world. Now, to many people, we have a free, albeit a flawed, press or media that can be politically biased most times. We are pretty much free to assemble and protest peacefully. Peaceful protest is legal. We can worship if we want to. I went to Zion yesterday, no impediments. We can worship if we want, or we don't have to if we don't want to worship. And we have the right to vote, even though in recent times, my family, many issues of bribery have been raised, along with some troubling comments. We've heard some troubling comments from our current Prime Minister about the elections here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And this was a confession from our Prime Minister, Dr. Terence Drew, about elections in St. Kitts, which he said can be bought.
The election in St. Kitts and Nevis, whether you believe it or not, can be bought. It is not too expensive for a rich person to buy an election in St. Kitts and Nevis. This election has proven that.
Well, elections can be bought, said Prime Minister Drew. So we must ask ourselves, with these glowing reports, why would anyone seriously question whether we live in a free country? Because in reality, when we reflect on victimization, or on the victimization and political oppression of the last 6 months of this new Jew Labour administration, we are not nearly as free as some people would like to think. Our Constitution supposedly guarantees our fundamental rights and freedoms, whereas every person in this country, in St. Kitts and Nevis, should be entitled to the fundamental rights and freedoms, that is to say, the right, whatever your race, place of origin, birth, political opinions, colors, creed or sex, but subject to respect for the rights and freedoms of others and for the public interests, to each and all of the following, namely life, liberty, security of the person, equality before the law, and the protection of the law, freedom of conscience, of expression, and of assembly and association, and protection for your personal privacy, the privacy of your home and other property, and from deprivation of property without compensation. But they are all subject to limitations designed to ensure that the enjoyment of those rights and freedoms by any person does not impede the rights and freedoms of others or the public interests. Now, here in St. Kitts and Nevis, as a matter of fact, right now, the majority of Kittitians and Nevisians are so afraid of what could happen to them if they only express an unpopular opinion. The majority of Kittitians and Nevisians would whisper quietly and say to you that the political climate these days prevents them from saying things they believe, because they are worried that they will lose their jobs, for example. They are worried that they will not be able to pay their mortgage under this budding repressive regime that has been in office since August of 2022. Over the 7 years of the Team Unity administration, fear was not a part of who we were. Yet now, 2 out of 3 of us are afraid to say what's on our minds, because a budding dictator might lock us up. I asked for my Rastafarian brother, whom I have not seen for a while, and I was told that he has headed for the hills. He has headed for the hills in order to save some money, because he's afraid of a man who seemed to have more power than the Almighty.
If you are caught smoking marijuana in public, you will get a ticket of $1,000, and the marijuana, ganja, cannabis will be confiscated by the police.
My friend Rasta said he's afraid of this demon, so he has gone to the hills to smoke his marijuana. Now, given the political climate in the past 6 months, Kittians in particular may have good reason to be afraid. This is the St. Kitts Nevis we are now living in. I have traveled to many countries. Fortunately or unfortunately, however, I have not traveled to authoritarian countries such as China and the old Soviet Union. As a general rule, people in those places, we know, they are not likely to publicly express their opinions, because if they do, there are consequences of holding the wrong opinions, and you can get into serious trouble if you advocate ideas that are unacceptable to those in authority. But what transpired recently in this country where I was born, what transpired in this country where I was raised, and what transpired in this country where I still live, I find it to be retrogressive in this, the 21st century. People living in a free country should not be afraid to say what's on their minds. And I say so on a day like today, when people in the United States of America and worldwide are enjoying the life and reflecting on the legacy of Martin Luther King Jr., who as a young man led the Montgomery bus boycott, and who thereafter rallied millions of justice-bound people, young and old, to protest and demand change. But who will believe in the country of my birth, St. Kitts and Nevis, our fundamental rights and freedoms are under attack? Now, if 55 years after Martin Luther King Jr. was shot at the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee, on the 4th of April 1968. But as we celebrate the life of this prominent leader of the civil rights movement and Nobel Peace Prize laureate, who was known for his use of non-violence and civil disobedience, but just like Martin Luther King Jr., I want to say to my Straight Talk family, I want to say this tonight.
If I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian country, maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. Maybe I could understand the denial of certain basic First Amendment privileges because they haven't committed themselves to that over there. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right. And so just as I say we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around, we aren't going to let any injunction turn us around.
Yes. And I want to say tonight, just like Martin Luther King, we are not going to let any injunction, no injunction can turn us around. There will be some difficult days ahead. But I want to say to you, my Straight Talk family, that the God on the mountaintop is the same God down in the valley. So I want to also say like Martin Luther King Jr. I want to say like Martin Luther King Jr. this.
Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
Yes, like Martin Luther King Jr., mine eyes have seen the coming of the glory of the Lord. I can say, like I said before, that the God on the mountaintop is the same God down in the valley. Now, when we examine the double standards of those who are charged with the responsibility to uphold and preserve the Constitution of St. Kitts and Nevis and the law, as a people, we have an obligation to speak out against it. We have an obligation to speak out, and we must not be afraid. As one who served my constituency and my country, I can attest to the fact that an oath of office is not a mere formality. The oath is a public pledge that the official understands. It is a public pledge that you understand the requirements of the position in which you serve and will work to meet or exceed those requirements. All those taking the oath must fully consider the meaning of the oath and all of its important implications. This more so is expected of the principal or chief legal advisor to the current administration. This must be important, and is more important, I should say, to this principal advisor.
Oath of office. I, Garth Lucien Wilkin, do swear that I will honor, uphold, and preserve the Constitution of St. Christopher and Nevis, and the law, that I will conscientiously impartially, and to the best of my abilities, discharge my duties as Senator in the National Assembly, and do right to all manner of people, without fear or favor, affection or ill will. So help me God.
My Street Talk family, ask yourselves the question, with all that's going on, can Attorney General Garth Lucian Wilkin, on one hand, and before the entire nation, hold the Bible in his right hand and say, he will honor, uphold, and preserve the Constitution of St. Kitts and Nevis and the law, that he will conscientiously, impartially, and to the best of his ability discharge his duty as a senator in the National Assembly and do right to all manner of people without fear or favor, affection or ill will. So help me God. In the weeks after, he violates his oath and threatens to publicly embarrass people. Should we just sit back and be quiet? When weeks after swearing to honor and uphold the Constitution, he says something like this.
I might be publicly embarrassing some people, which might actually be worse than going to prison. I'm contemplating whether I should do that, and I'm minded more so about 70-30 to embarrass some people who might not have been corrupt, but were, I don't want to use the word I used earlier, but not very friendly towards our treasury, and I'm not going to tolerate that, and I'm going to embarrass some people.
My Street Talk family, by taking the oath of office, Garth Lucian Wilkin made a formal promise. He made a solemn commitment and invoked the name of God to demonstrate his sincere intention to fulfill that promise or commitment. This meant that the oath did not only bind the Attorney General to the laws of man, but to a higher moral authority as well. Not to send out threats about making people shake in their boots. That's not the oath he took.
I'm not afraid of anybody, and I was saying that straight up. I'm not scared of anybody. I was hired to do a job, and I'm going to do that job. So some people should be shaking in their boots right now.
I believe, however, the Attorney General is the one who is shaking in his boots, and he should be, because if in any other cabinet, he would have been dismissed for his total disregard for the oath of office. His actions and public utterances since becoming the principal legal advisor to the Jew Labor Administration are nothing short of being outrageous, most outrageous. My Street Dog family, take my word tonight. It is going to get worse. And only when this arrogant, immature Attorney General is relieved of his position, then, and only then, he will understand. Then and only then he'll understand.
Oath of office. I, Garth Lucian Wilkin, do swear that I will honor, uphold, and preserve the Constitution of St. Christopher and Nevis, and the law, that I will conscientiously, impartially, and to the best of my abilities, discharge my duties as Senator in the National Assembly, and do right to all manner of people, without fear or favor, affection or ill will. So help me God.
I might be publicly embarrassing some people, which might actually be worse than going to prison. I'm contemplating whether I should do that, and I'm minded more so about 70-30 to embarrass some people who might not have been corrupt, but were, I don't want to use the word I used earlier, but not very friendly towards our treasury, and I'm not going to tolerate that, and I'm going to embarrass some people.
So help me God. Again, my family, take my word, it is going to get worse. And only when this arrogant, immature Attorney General is relieved of his position, then, and only then, he will understand that the oath of office is a solemn commitment to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. That's my story tonight, and I am not going to change it. I will open the lines. I'll entertain your calls and your emails. I always like to implore you, though, that whenever I open the lines, and I'll do so in a few seconds, whenever I open the lines, I anticipate that you will respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned, and let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. And the things you say and not do, let's try and hope they are beneficial to all concerned. And in saying and doing those things, let's strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. With that said, at 18 before 9, I go to the lines. Caller, you're live.
Good night. You can hear me?
Yes, my dear. I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Because rain coming.
Yes.
Now, how are you?
I am peaceful.
How was your weekend?
Oh, restful, my dear. Went to church.
You said you went to the funeral. I did not see you. But the church is big, so maybe I was sitting down.
I'm worried perhaps you don't have eyes for me anymore.
What is that?
I said perhaps you don't have eyes for me anymore.
Eyes for you?
Yes.
But you have none for me neither.
I have for Alice in Wonderland.
Okay. How was your weekend?
Restful, my dear. Spiritually uplifting as well.
Okay, greetings to you and your family. Be of good courage and good cheer. You could go with all of them. Greetings again to you and your family and the best Prime Minister and his family, your callers and emailers, and thank God for sparing my life. Thank you, Jesus. And to my cousin Vincent in Virginia, thank God for him. Timothy Fault don't worse than nobody else. He will see the goings of the cheaters who vote to get him out and the money he was giving out in the corona. Something else will come soon and very soon. And his name will always call. 7 years, don't do nothing, shame at all of them. Show what you could do better. Start could never get it to like him. No way, and he did not borrow no money. Is the same black people who get in deal with $80,000 for coming back.
Thank you very much. At now, my Stray Dog family, it's 16 before the 9 o'clock hour. The oath of office, as I said before, is extremely important. Very important. And I say good night to all my Facebook massive, Wendy, Kurt, Arthur, Ashburn, Sonia, Victoria, Karen, Kevin, and the whole crew. But I said before that by taking the oath of office, anyone who did would have made a formal promise, a solemn commitment, especially when they would have invoked the name of Almighty God to demonstrate their sincere intention to fulfill that promise or commitment. This meant that the oath did not only bind them to the laws of man, but it is also bound them to a higher moral authority as well. But not to send out threats about making people shake in their boots, and people are not afraid of you, and you're not afraid of people. But the Straight Dog family, it's 15 before 9. I go back to the lines. Caller, you live. Greetings, my brother.
How you doing? Blessed night, brother Patrick.
I am peaceful. Yourself?
The thankful for life, because the creator sends showers on the face of the earth, so mankind can't stop nothing but just live by the body through the air. So good night to you listeners via radio and internet. Now, listening to your program, carefully how you express the word sound and power. Now, you play some clip of Martin Luther King, and I would like to say, happy birthday song to Brother Martin, and you see your birth month to Brother Patrick?
Yes, it is.
Well, happy birthday month. If you're dead on now, you're still counting your days.
I'm counting. It's next week Tuesday. Next week Tuesday, yes.
May the Lord the Almighty guide you when the time comes for you to have your joyful day, yeah? In the powers of true justice and righteousness. And may you live to see many more when it do come. Now, I would like to emphasize something I'd like to indicate that you heard you outline. Now, you talk about some kind of legislation was backed out in December when the Attorney General made some walk-up statement about ganja and outlined his context of how he wants to phrase this movement against the herb. Well, I would like to say to the Attorney General, who is now in, he will listen carefully to Judge Eddie Ventos in 2019. You remember that, Brother Patrick?
Yes, I did.
He stated to you all administration that must go and change the law towards the use of God and Rasta. And the Attorney General must have consultation with Rastafari. And that didn't play out under the farm administration was led by Timothy Harris. And even now at this administration that is led by Dr. Joe. You see, because we got to be realistic on here when we talk to and things, you know. And I'm glad I don't be very on the front line when it comes to research. Because I'm not playing my life in a using ganja in a single or in any part of this world. Because nobody don't come put their hand on me and tell me I use drugs when the creator put this education to ionized level of consciousness. So there is something we have to go when it comes to public education. And I'm serious about that. We don't care what the Attorney General trying to emphasize for carnival setting, because there is nowhere in this world that ganja will create asthmatic problems. They must have to lie. And I'm serious about that. I'm just waiting till me confront him in face to face in a meeting. Because I'm telling him what I have to say. And this is where we're going to go. How we're going to pursue in guiding the farmer of what we're dealing when it comes to ganja. And nobody want to try to make it look like Rasta want to impose something on the nation. Is the almighty creation that Rasta imposing. Is the creation that the people don't want to respect because they're blindsided by old jokey pharmaceutical companies I have around here. And I'm glad that we people have to understand. This is the time now to open up them eyes and wake up. Go ahead, go ahead.
But you've heard the comments of the AG, right? And
I heard him.
And so are you saying you're defying them?
Well, I'm telling you straight up because just like how the judge said in 2019,
okay,
neither the AG or the former AG can dispute what I just said. I mean, I heard to say that Ayat Mandela Tunji Naskala weed is not going to feel nothing in the society because the society needs to change the old backward attitude towards ganja. Ganja is not a problem on here. It's our social impact of our media, but in flocking the youth them mind. That's why you're seeing all like Twitter and all what they call Instagram, all them is still garbage feeding the mind of the youth them. They use them corrupted by what they want them to be like those. Because as celebrity and superstars, they gotta wake up and understand. It's a role what we're facing different than the celebrity and superstar lifestyle.
Okay.
So really, let us bring ourselves to common understanding. Blessed Lord, brother Patrick, and I hope you live to see many more and come out on the 28th of January to partake with your ancestors in marking the 80th anniversary of the Buckley's uprising. We'll inform the nation more of what's going forward for that day because we have something up for what the nation needs to understand.
Thank you.
Give thanks. Bless the Lord.
Give thanks, my brother. I look forward to that as well. Yes, and this is what, just in the event you are wondering what the Attorney General said, which Ras Aya said he is defying, based on the ruling of Judge Ventos some 3 years ago in 2019, the case, what's the Rasta's name? Oh, I'm ashamed. But he said this nonetheless. The AG.
If you are caught smoking marijuana in public, you will get a ticket of $1,000 and the marijuana, ganja, cannabis will be confiscated by the police.
Yes. My Straight Talk family, it's now 8 minutes before the 9 o'clock hour. The lines are open. We're entertaining your calls. And our thesis tonight is on the solemnity, the importance of the oath of office. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you are live. Hello, caller. Yes, could you tell? Hello, caller.
Hello.
Yes, you're live, my.
Hello.
It's the Bible man. How are you? How are you? Happy New Year to you. Did I hear?
Man, your man and your man.
I am peaceful, man. What about you? All is well? Are you there?
Your man and your man.
I thought about you a couple of days ago myself, but I'll come and I thought about you a couple of days ago myself, but now I'm here. I'll come and see you. I commit to coming and seeing you. All is well, though.
Well, I can't hear you, because look, I don't everywhere. But the telephone is a new brand telephone. Somebody bringing for me.
And you can't hear?
Yeah, well,
we are hearing you loud and clear. What's on your mind? We are hearing you loud and clear. What is on your mind?
Oh, you're listening to me loud and clear?
Yes, I'm hearing you loud. The whole world is listening to you.
Well, that is the situation there.
Yes.
Mr. Patrick, listen here. Tonight I was watching something on my telephone. And in my own opinion, I said to myself, because the last Monday and Tuesday, Monday and Thursday, when I hear you, I said to myself, I believe we're going to come on this week. But listen here. You know how to worry yourself about it. A God rule this whole universe.
That is so true.
But he cannot do nothing. You stand up for what is right. You read out the Constitution tonight, right? Listen here. They cannot do nothing. You got freedom of speech. Well, you offend the law. They cannot do you nothing. And the grace of God will with you. Because you're talking what is right in the sight of God.
Truth, yes.
And remember now, whatever man sow it, he also reap. But it will not go no more. Thursday will really come again and really give time by time. And I take up no time. So see you.
Thanks a lot for your intervention, my Bible man. And you said it so right. The only defense against defamation or libel is the truth. And on Straight Talk, we just promote the truth. Because we are fully aware of the fact that only the truth can set us free. I've always, all times since I've been on talk radio, I've always promoted the truth. I've always said, I've always implored all my callers to speak the truth. But you see, times like now, with a due administration and a zealous principal advisor, you have to be prepared to stand alone. At 4 before 9 o'clock, call you live.
Good evening, Dr. Ian Paget Liburd. How are you?
Your humble servant is peaceful. Yourself?
Okay, I'm peaceful too. Now, let me start with oath. I want to know, them politicians, when they go and make the oath and say that they will do their job without fear or favor, and in the end they're going to say, so help me God. I want to realize the word is all capital letters, G-O-D. When they go say, so help me God. And after they don't make that oath, look at what they're doing. Look at the turnaround, the opposite to what the oath what they make.
True.
I want to tell that boy, Gert Wilkin, I tell him all the time, slow down, brother. Your blood is too hot. Cool down your blood. You're going the wrong way. Your approach is wrong to what the Constitution says. You're going to name them and shame them, and because they're not friendly with the Treasury. Ah, boy. Pick the beam of joy. Pick the big long beam of joy before you go tell other poor people, other innocent people, that they are having a little yampy. He come like he want people to, he's the present King Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar, he wanted 3 Hebrew boys to bow down and worship him. They say, oh king, we will not. We will not. And the king say, yeah, you have your faith, but you have to go in the furnace. They say, okay, we're going in because we believe in God. God the Almighty who we serve. And he will protect us. You can't protect us. And when he show them in, he tell them, hot up the fire, the hotter man, hot it up. And when they open up, the man who they believe in, who they got the faith in, they had the faith in man. And freed man. They had the faith in God. When they open up, he say he's a trying 3, but he's 4 in there. And that is what changed his mind, that there is a God. So I am telling people around here, do not be fearful of that. Now, Dr. Joe, as the Prime Minister, all of them who just walking funny with people for no legitimate reason. They're turning with people because the people ain't backing them as labor. Some of them people who they turn with was labor with them, but they don't care. He been advised by someone who should not be an advisor and a special advisor. That he advising Dr. Joe to go wrong. But Dr. Joe said an election can be bought. And he has seen it here in St. Kitts. with the last election gone. So what I tell the people there who observe what went on election day? Something went wrong, a lot of things went wrong. That's why they're in there. And if you start to button up a shot wrong, it cannot end right. You will have to unbutton it and button it up right. Let me go over salt and patches. Over the Christoph Harbour. $130 million was given to them over they lend them, and then trying to please the IMF by paying back something. You can ask these many shareholders of National Bank to take a haircut. Even the churches where people sacrifice and pay a little money for the tithes and the offering, the churches must take a haircut, and other businesses around the place they take haircut. And what? All it knows that they're talking about sweep that under the rug, throw out upon that. And poor people have to go and pay the lights bill, the water bill, and the telephone bill, the land bill and the house tax. Well, really, if you use something, you have to pay for it. But don't go and crush the poor people them and go and get them up and go because they don't have the money where to pay. And you want to throw water upon Christoph Harbour? $130 million. Sorry, under the rug. It ain't no work so. That will never work so. But let me move the way. Let somebody else come in because I'll be back.
Thank you. Thank you, my dear brother. Yes, you're so correct. It's not going to work that way. If you can't pay the money, give us back some land. My good friend Patches, pleasant good night to you, sir, reads this email. Don't let them succeed in scaring you off the airwaves in this our beloved and beautiful federation. They and their political goons want you to retreat, but we shall never surrender to the privileged class again. Those days are gone. Let Attorney General Wilkin know that not a single man is shaking in their boots. It's only those who have skeletons in their closets, hidden temporarily from public view, who shake when the truth is coming to the surface. The truth shall come out. It always does. It always does. Running to the judiciary will neither suppress the truth nor ruin the opportunity to expose it. Those who claim for themselves the lofty position of paragons of virtue fall to the fastest and land the hardest. Patience, Patches. Time is your friend. Reads this email. Let's go back to the lines at 903 caller. You are live. I thank you for holding.
I'm back. You can hear me?
Yes, you're live. You are live. We're hearing you loud and clear.
Yes, okay. Everybody have family, vote differently for any party. But how to eat bread, one song and others will never agree with what they're doing in 4 months. It's unfair to people. Vengeance is mine, not man. Labour was under Timothy. He did not turn them away, and they're still there. If it's Timothy they're after, why behaving like that to other people? Have a heart, mind. Everybody have their day, so wish all they want. They said the peer was not good, so why they claiming the good or the bad? And the both can be the whole deal. You did not bang no water come here, so why you can't talk? That's what we come to now. They are saying Timothy and you must go jail for the good you all has done. Nobody gets no jail for all the money that was going all over the world. Get home safely. If they know the good, why they have police? If they're so good, police who can't live where they live with their voters. It's a shame. They get too big overnight. He was not studying culture. For some, maybe something going on what we don't know. The treasury was there 20 years ago. He just now tell him cool out. Be too rich, cool out, and he won't get richer. See you. Have a good night. Get home safely.
Thanks a lot. Have a good night as well. Now, when we examine the double standards, is what we call it. The double standards of those who are charged with the responsibility to uphold and preserve the Constitution of St. Kitts and Nevis and the law. As a people, we have to speak out against it. That's our obligation. And as one who served in the parliament, as one who served my constituency and my country, I can attest to the fact that the oath or an oath of office, it's not just a formality. The oath is a public pledge that the official understands the requirements of the position and will work to meet or exceed those requirements. Everyone, all taking that oath, must fully consider the meaning of the oath, must consider the meaning of all its importance and implications. The meaning of its important implications, I should say. And this more so is expected of our principal or chief legal advisor to the current administration, who took the oath. He took the oath in front of all of us. And I always remember when he finished taking the oath, he punched the air. I wonder what he said when he was going back with his instrument in his hand. But he took this oath.
Oath of office. I, Garth Lucian Wilkin, do swear that I will honor, uphold, and preserve the Constitution of St. Christopher and Nevis, and the law, that I will conscientiously, impartially, and to the best of my abilities, discharge my duties as senator in the National Assembly, and do right to all manner of people, without fear or favor, affection or ill will. So help me God.
So help me God. But can the Attorney General, or anyone for that matter, who took that oath, on one hand, before the entire nation, hold the Bible in his right hand and say for the world to hear, he will honor, uphold, and preserve the Constitution of St. Kitts and Nevis and the law, that he will conscientiously, impartially, and to the best of his ability discharge his duty as a senator in the National Assembly and do right to all manner of people without fear or favor, affection or ill will. So help him God. Then weeks after, he violates his oath and threatens the public or threatens the people to embarrass them publicly. That is what we should turn a blind eye to? No. The oath is a serious commitment.
I might be publicly embarrassing some people, which might actually be worse than going to prison. I'm contemplating whether I should do that, and I'm minded more so about 70-30 to embarrass some people who might not have been corrupt, but were, I don't want to use the word I used earlier, but not very friendly towards our treasury. And I'm not going to tolerate that, and I'm going to embarrass some people.
Embarrass some people. It's now 10 past 9 o'clock hour. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Young catches Liburd. Good night. I know you're back, brother, you know.
Good night, my brother, Jam Down. How about thou? Have I heard you for the new year? I don't think I've seen you either, so I want to wish you a happy new year.
Yeah.
And I pray for continuing good health.
I had a death in the family, so.
You did?
I was below the radar, but just listening.
Okay, but, accept my sympathies, yeah.
But
my brother.
This thing ain't sweet in this family with poor people, you know. I thought this young man with the usher in a different kind of politics, but look like we got back to the same thing.
Yep.
With the whole time and the labor, you mean the stage has been set with Timothy Harris. And it look like instead this man ushering a new type of politics, there's a radio who was putting them to mess up their own tenure. Because this is how I'm looking at this. But the poor people are alone, man. Things to be done. You got a hospital up there to straight now. You got young people in general to straight now with walking ethics. Come on! We got liquor in the state of every citizen in this country. And this is the kind of things we're going through. I want to hear up in the culture. And I call them to straight out because straight out we talk truth. Again, an old man over the village told me to tell you, he can't walk in town now real strong. But when he reached where the senator and he watched them pushes and you appear, he said, I tell you, thank you very much. What a new master word, son. Have a good night. I will be back. Hear the man.
Yes, have a good night as well, my dear brother. You know, it's really heartwarming to see the parade of ships continue almost on a daily basis. This morning, you look down to the port to see the big ship on the new cruise pier and the little ship on the old cruise pier. All that was said. But, you know, time, they say, longer than twine. And as I was saying, going back to the discussion tonight about our oath of office. And as I said, my people, by taking the oath of office, everyone who took that oath made a formal promise and a solemn commitment. A solemn commitment. And they invoke the name of God. And having invoked the name of God, to me that would have demonstrated a sincere intention to fulfill that promise or commitment. It meant that the oath did not only bind the Attorney General to the laws of man, but to a higher moral authority as well. But he's one who likes to beat his chest.
We are at a proverbial fork in the road in our history. The people have asked for openness, fairness, accountability, and good governance from the people who sit on this side. That time is now. I am proud, personally, to be a man of action. Not one who just likes to bang his mouth. I can beat my chest and boast that I am a hard worker.
Well, I can't say certain things, my people. As I said to you, I'm under a restraining order. But in time to come, lots of things would be said. And I agree with you, Victoria. Just like you, I'm not afraid, for I trust in the Most High and His Son. And I also believe in the rule of law. And I follow the World Justice Project report. And my Straight Talk family, as I said to you earlier, for those who may have just joined me, I said much earlier that as a people, and as a country, and since our last conversation on Thursday, for those of you who missed me last week, Thursday, we dealt with the protection of freedom of expression. And I told you back then that I was subject to an ex parte injunction filed by one Garth Lucian Wilkin. I am bound by the court to be silent about the terms within the order. But I'll come back to that. Let me take this call. Firstly, caller, you're live. Yes, caller, you're live.
Yes, good night, Mr. Patrick.
Could you turn your radio down? I'm hearing a radio in the background.
Okay.
Yeah, could you turn your radio down? Turn your radio down.
Down.
Are you there?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead. The whole world is listening to you.
Yes, good night. How are you tonight?
Pardon?
I just want to, apart from the politics, about some health care in this country, okay? You there?
Yes, yeah. Your radio is still on. Your radio is still on. I want the whole world to hear. Just move away from it. Just talk to your telephone. Talk to your telephone. Forget the radio.
Okay, I just want to stress on the health care in this country, okay?
Okay, that's fine.
John, I'm trying to stress on it slightly just now when he called, I was listening to him. Listen, it's overbearing now in this country, okay? This country has so much money. I only knew that when election was coming on. So much money. And this hospital up here, has anybody sick these days? They got to run all over the place, borrowing money. Somebody put money together to fly them out. It's a shame. They need to do something with this hospital, healthcare in general. Bringing machine, dialysis, all kind of different machines. Even though they don't have people here to operate them, flying doctors is cheaper than the people paying hotels. It's too expensive now, man. And all this going out to all the politicians, they're talking to each one of them now. Whether opposition or win government. It's a shame. To next election, if they can fund the hospital equipment up there to take care and save life, you all need not to vote for them or run them. It's ridiculous. Everybody going, they're going to do this. I didn't know Sanchez had so much money. That's why my brother were fighting for it too. You should be ashamed over the two. But you all need to do something. The politicians need to do something, Mr. Liburd. I'm getting fed up now. This thing is overbearing. People losing their family. Simple things. You got to take just when you reach, you too late. Put equipment in the hospital so they could deal with certain situations. You know they can't handle it. Flying doctors, easier for doctors to fly now. You got to do the same thing. So that's my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you. Sound contribution. And one of my observations tonight dealt with something that came to me in relation to the JNF hospital. And some people are even calling for the return of the what was he, the medical chief of staff, but I know he's gone and calling for Cameron Wilkinson to be back. But I know Cameron has moved on and he's being used where he's needed in New York. Caller, you live. Yes, caller.
Yes, Patches. Yeah, I am back again. Good night to the caller before me. Well said, caller. Well said. I see your passion and I feel your passion. And jam down, good night. Say a soldier, we ain't gonna bow. We ain't gonna bow down to none of them because our conscience is our guide. Like the caller said, before the election on 5th, the government that is in now, they condemn and they criticize a lot of things of the hospital. And when they get in there, they're going to do this, it's going to be better than what is there. They're going to do that, and they're going to buy this machine, and they're going to buy that, and nobody going to have to go nowhere on no plane to get no medical treatment. But right now, the situation is worse than they criticize. And they tell a lot of lies to fool people. If people the impression, we good, we're better than them, we have a love for people and conscience, and we love our country, and everything gonna be good, then clean and dandy. And like I said, it is worse. And look who is the health minister. Look how the medical Dr. Joe, the hospital is supposed to be like that. He's supposed to be done upgraded because you were boasting what you're going to do and this and that. And then like you call said, his country got a lot of money. And what they do with it? What they do with it? Spread and lavish it. Look at it. Two people come from the same country to this country to be in the same function. Why the two people could not come on one aircraft? Why? Who pay for them aircraft? Even the telephone calls that they had to make before they leave the country. All that price is included in the bill that comes to our treasury here. Who had them two people here singing and then the one who had the speech? They did not pay for them to come here out of the wallet. That was paid for by taxpayers' money. And that is why they want to hush you young patches. But they cannot hush down me and jam down and oil and Nabo and other great soldiers who are not afraid to speak. If Rosa Parks, they let them muzzle him out. Dr. King would not know what went on in the bus for he to go out and speak out and had the amount of supporters behind him. It's because they refuse to be muzzled by people. Freedom of the press, freedom of speech is for everybody. It's only God who stops people from speaking, not man. And all those who are afraid to speak against wrongdoings in this country, they are cowards. Chicken. I don't let that kick them on you and give them the wrong impression. I just supporting them and backing them just to hold a job. You don't do that. You tell a man when you're wrong. If you want to turn you away, that's your business. But you know your conscience is clean and clear, you will sleep good. But when you see me doing wrong, and you're afraid to tell me I'm wrong, you can't sleep good. Don't be afraid to tell people when they're wrong. What is work? Man shut you one door and God open four more. It ain't man make work. God give us the strength and everything to perform a duty. So why should I be afraid, man? Come on, don't be no hypocrite. And give a wrong impression that I am one of your child, and you know you're in the child. That is, they cannot stop you, now nobody who willing to speak what the conscience guide them to do. Let me move, let somebody else come in. I'll be back if nobody want to come in.
Thank you very much. It's 24 minutes after the 9 o'clock hour. And if you've just joined me, my Stray Dog family, we are focusing tonight on the oath of office and its importance. It's a solemn commitment, as I advanced. And as I was saying before the call, since our last conversation, I am still subject to an ex parte injunction filed by one Garth Lucian Wilkin. And as I said, I welcome 2023. And last week, Thursday, I was served with that ex parte injunction filed by one Garth Lucian Wilkin. I explained what is an ex parte injunction, and for those who missed it, let me tell you that an ex parte injunction is an order made by the court when the person applying for the injunction, in this case, Garth Lucian Wilkin, he asks for a hearing without informing me that he is going to the court. Let me repeat that. An ex parte injunction is an order made by the court when the person applying for the injunction has asked for a hearing without informing the other side that he is going to the court for that hearing. And I can say to you that my lawyer, as I said, has already contacted the lawyers of the applicant, and I can't say much more right now. But what I can say, that I have done some reflection, I have engaged in introspection, self-introspection, and I reflected on the annual global report on political rights and civil liberties. It's called Freedom in the World, which is composed of numerical ratings and descriptive text for some 195 countries and a select group of 15 territories. And the 2022 edition covers developments in the listed countries and territories, including St. Kitts and Nevis. And we have been ranked highly, very highly. We get like 36 out of 40. So that's almost 80% or more. Now, St. Kitts and Nevis has a history based on the report of competitive and credible elections. Yes, that's what the report says. And civil liberties are also generally upheld, reads the report. Very interesting, though, my Stray Dog family, is that the report suggested that there are some concerns about government corruption and transparency, but it credited the authorities with success in addressing the once high rate of violent crime, and rightly so, because we recall we were, and I don't like to say it, but it is fact, we were labeled the murder capital of the world. When under Douglas, we had 36 homicides, 36 murders. And under the Timothy Harris-led Team Unity administration, we went to a low of 11 homicides. And that's still too high. From the Kennedy Simmons administration, It is the accepted wisdom that we live in one of the freest countries in the world. But that seems to be changing. It seems to be changing with all the free press or media that is so politically biased most times. Yes, we can say we are pretty much free to assemble and we can worship if we want. I went to Zion yesterday, my home church, Zion Moravian. And we can worship. If we don't want to worship, we don't have to worship. We have a right to vote. Even though in recent times many issues of bribery have been raised, along with some troubling comments, very troubling comments from our current Prime Minister, Terence Drew, who made this confession, and we have to take it seriously. Drew said this.
Election in St. Kitts and Nevis, whether you believe it or not, can be bought. It is not too expensive for a rich person to buy an election in St. Kitts and Nevis. This election has proven that.
Elections can be easily bought. My Straight Talk family, we must ask ourselves, with those glowing reports, why would anyone seriously question whether we live in a free country? It's because in reality, when we reflect on the victimization and political oppression of the last 6 months under the new Drew Labour administration, we are not nearly as free as some people would think. And Jamdong was perfectly correct when he said what he said. But my people, right now, the majority of petitions and divisions are so afraid of what could happen to them if they express an unpopular opinion. But I'm going to talk the truth, whether it's unpopular or not. The majority of petitions and divisions would whisper quietly and say to you that the political climate these days prevents them from saying what they believe. Caller, you are live. It's 28 minutes before 10. You're live, caller.
Greetings and joy to you again, Brother Patrick.
Greetings, my brother.
And just to listen on what you just said, with the clip where you pray for the Prime Minister's statement, I find it very heartbreaking to hear a statement coming out of him all like that, because when you look at it, his former leader, Dr. Denzel Douglas, Right Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas, had outlined in 2004 that when he do return to Parliament as the Prime Minister, he will have campaign finances be a part of the legislative approach, where we can know how these monies are impacting towards the election that we have in all the period of years. Now, I hope this new Prime Minister could take a quotation out of his former leader mouth and do the due diligence and ask the AG to start being good legislative approach to these aspects of taping and the steering of his mouth. Because you tell me, election can be bought, but that means I have a corrupted society, man. In a long time, because they go say, the boundaries them are easy and he like them as they are. Then he went and won up and down trying to get some kind of boundaries commission, and then when you look, we have all kind of details where he finds himself and Edmund Lawrence, because I don't know what kind of movement these people. I tell you, I have some joke in society until one of these politicians go to jail, you are society already yet. Because the people who behind the society, they know what we're talking about. That's the politicians, them have fun with the people, but we're talking about the controllers of the society who feel like it's only about them. Let me say something to my brother party that I try to vandalize your program. So I'm saying this here because it's time now the people them understand. The going behind political movements is financed by big corporations, not just in think it, but also the think it. And when these corporations get the reach of what they fund to these political parties, they are getting a sure guaranteed to what they need in whatever they see fitting for them in the process of the development. That's what you take a statement and say, a man coming with a vehicle, he had the money, and in 2 years time, he have accumulated by now what is once was Ocean Kerosene, owned by TC. You see?
Yeah.
So we got to really be considered. These people here really coming here for helping development. They are coming here to rip off our success in the finances. And we people really consider no more economical power. They ain't saying to have economical power to danger one another, have economical power to rise one another and make our people stop be a beggar. Because we not come on to be a beggar. Come on to demand our justice. Just like how them crooked so-called Jews, they're exterminated by the Hitler, which is a lie. They fabricate again. We must study the histories of these wars that are permitted on the world scale and how they reach into our third world developing countries. Because remember they did that to Maurice Bishop. And Maurice Bishop was a man of diligence and standard for his rights of the people. So we ain't got them kind of leaders on here. Give thanks. Blessed love.
Blessed love, my brother. This email reads, you cannot have it both ways. They cannot be paragons of virtue and at the same time pirates. Hansard Archives reads this email. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you are live. It's
Hello.
24 before 10 o'clock. Yes, you're live, sir. Yes, caller, you're live.
Yes, Mr. Patrick, good night.
Good night, sir.
I'm just calling to give you a little word of encouragement about this thing about the Attorney General. You don't have to worry about it, okay?
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
That's nonsense. In my view, he should have never been, the position is suitably too young and inexperienced. Then position is a more older, mature person to handle the situation. When Unity was in power, after the thing was said, nobody went to the court. When court got wasted on again, I'm the same guy with the health care coming back again. They need to go on. Let me ask a question, Mr. Patrick. Do you know how to assembly the public is welcoming it?
Of course. Yeah.
But I will be there one day and ask them to put up my hand and talk about, I'm not on nobody's side, I just want them to do right thing. So with all this problem they're trying to make him before they try to do the people work. Yeah. I will be present next House of Assembly.
Yeah, but you can't.
With my petition. They might have to lock me up too.
You can't.
This thing over there. They just gone into government before they do the people what they call them problem. Unity was here and no, nobody went court. The Attorney General, I think the position is too much for him. They need a old and mature head. These guys too pump up. And somebody need to talk to them. But getting back to the hospital, they need to fix this hospital. The health care coming back with that. All these money they're wasting. And so we get it to court is the government money paid for that. And poor people will suffering. Just call to tell you don't feel worried, man.
Thank you, man.
They're going to be water out of the bush. Don't worry. Okay, have a good night again.
Have a good night as well, my brother. Thanks for the support. Just to inform you that they won't allow you to speak from the gallery. So you have to be quiet in the gallery, but you are allowed to enter in the gallery. Stay strong. Patches reads this email. A.G. Wilkin did not only violate his oath of office by issuing threats to embarrass people, he went further and made good on those promises. He singled out Mr. Stasio Williams at Open Interactive and others and held them out in the public domain for ridicule. He did so with ill will. Now he wants to impose a gag order on you to protect himself from the truth coming out. What does he have to hide? Reads that email. Caller, thank you for holding. You're live.
That is.
My brother.
That is.
Yes, my
The
brother.
MRI machine that this government is talking about, it didn't order under the previous government.
That is correct. That is correct.
Huh?
You're correct, my brother. If you look at the budget.
So what the song and dance is about?
Well,
the problem is the war machines up the hospital is true enough, but the problem is attitude and care. The care is not there. You cannot get people and walk balling to nurses and, nobody bashing them. Happy nurses day to day again. But we have to do better. The minister in charge have to put something in place to deliver the care. The animals. How is it when the season, Simon's wife and, a lot of the lady of Canwood, how they had their work daily dealing with people. It's a problem, it's a serious problem, and people swear to talk, But I carry this country and never see, and never see. There's too much of people crying out, and in pockets of the country talking about jail France. You're sitting down and giving people, making people do what they want and they're going to quote money. It's a problem. And a big concern, and I want to talk the call to weigh in it. Because it is very serious. The kind of death we experience in simple things. They could save life. People losing their life. Come on, have them, and I'm concerned, and I will speak. I will speak. Have a good night, and
yes, my brother, have yourself a good night as well. On a day like today, the people in the United States of America, it's a holiday, so my overseas line seems to be very quiet tonight, and I can understand that. It's your day to rest and, and party as well. But enjoy the life and legacy of Martin Luther King Jr., who as a young man led the Montgomery bus boycott, and who thereafter rallied millions of justice-bound people, young and old, to protest and demand change. But who will believe in the country of my birth, St. Kitts and Nevis? Our fundamental rights and freedoms are under attack. Now 55 years after Martin Luther King was gunned down in Memphis, Tennessee. As we celebrate the life of this prominent leader of the civil rights movement and Nobel Peace Prize laureate, who was known for his use of nonviolence and civil disobedience. But I want to say again tonight, I can't be a Martin Luther King, but I can say like Martin Luther King tonight, I can join him in saying this, my Street Talk family.
If I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian country, maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. Maybe I could understand the denial of certain basic First Amendment privileges because they haven't committed themselves to that over there. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right. And so just as I say we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around, we aren't going to let any injunction turn us around.
Yes, like Martin Luther King Jr., no injunction can turn us around. No injunction can stop us from talking the truth. And as I say, like Martin Luther King as well, there will be some difficult days ahead. But I want to say to you, my Straight Talk family, that the God on the mountain top is the same God down in the valley. And I want to also say, like MLK Jr., my eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
Yes, you have just joined us in the event you have. We have examined the double standards of those who are charged with responsibility to uphold and preserve the Constitution of St. Kitts and Nevis and the law. As a people, we have an obligation to speak out against it. As one who served my constituency and my country, I can attest to the fact that an oath of office is not a mere formality. The oath is a public pledge that you understand the requirements of the position in which you are serving, that you understand and will work to meet or exceed those requirements. My Straight Talk family, that's how important the oath is. Caller, you live.
Yeah, good. April, I have a pattern. Happy New Year, Christmas, everything you want.
Happy New Year, Christmas, everything you want. How are you?
The program is good where you got, but somebody told me that must tell you, don't go too far in the matter with the thing where you had last week, so I don't know what you had on.
Okay, don't go too far. How are you?
I go. Something they say on, and the whole man had for government had it too. And he read
Yes.
Something. There we go.
Yes, he said,
don't go too far with that.
Okay, well, I'll take your advice, my dear. All is well?
Okay, all right. All the best.
You take care of yourself.
Bye.
Bye. That's my good Labour friend from down west. And all those taking the oath must fully consider the meaning of the oath and all of its important implications. But it has implications. And I can say to you, my Straight Dog family, more is expected of our Attorney General. Much more. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
You know, we are from the east. Where the caller you? Passed away.
Baby Lou.
Where the caller?
Yes, Baby Lou.
Baby Lou.
Yes, I made mention of it tonight, yes.
Yeah, we and straight talk. I don't wish the family well. You know, because it ain't easy in these times. You know, she was the head of the house.
Yep.
You always read, so we gotta wish her well from straight talk and the family.
Yes, we do.
So,
We do.
You know we go.
Yes.
You know that was a big thing for you, know.
Yes, my dear.
Yeah, Patrick. Have a good night.
I'm gonna miss my black pudding. Yes, from Baby Low. How could I forget to extend condolences as well to my brother, one boy? No, your heart is gone. And as I was saying, as we wind down tonight's programming at 10 before 10 o'clock, and our program is heard every Monday and Thursday night from 8 in the night time to 10 p.m. 8 in the night time to 10 p.m. But we have to take the oath of office seriously. Caller, you live. Wow, you're hot tonight, man. You're hot tonight.
Yes, man, because nobody want to call him but me and Jam Dong and and whoever else make a little input. But let me say this, you know, I will show some people where the comment what Dr. Joe said, that election can be bought. And it was really bought, August 5th election. Because I'll show you something. With your kind of impression that the electorate was given to Prime Minister Dr. Harris before election. Dr. Harris was so sure that all around the country, PLP would have come out victorious. But because they had the money to buy election, look what they do. All from one go right round. All of them win. Win hands down, except for Dr. Harris. And you know the reason why they didn't invest that amount of money to dethrone Dr. Harris? Because if they had done that, that would have been so obvious that even who I shut and watching, they would have said, no, something really wrong. So they make it look like that they could not beat Dr. Harris, but they had the money to outpay Dr. Harris, take him down. So he right. Money, election can be bought, and it was really bought, and it is wrong. And that's why they got to fall. They're going to fall before 2 years, because they got any wrong, and what started wrong cannot end right. That's all I have to say for now. But let me say something now. That man, Wilkin, the Attorney General, he's standing on quicksand. And every time he open his mouth, he sink a little further down. All the up after he done swearing, you know what he said? All who have a criminal record in prison for marijuana, it has been expunged, or it will be expunged. And you can smoke your marijuana anywhere. No police can stop you. But now here he come on and say no, he want to get at the fellow them. Well, I agree that nobody should pollute any cluster of people where you smoke, with a cigarette, cigar, pipe, or whatever it is. Go by yourself and smoke. Suppose somebody up your tongue on the wall, sitting down by themselves and they smoking the marijuana. And a police, will a police go lock them up and they charge them $1,000? They will be wrong. They will be wrong. He's in the public, but he ain't disturbing nobody. When he open his mouth, he's so ignorant and wild and holy to embarrass people like you said. That he don't take his time and assess what he gonna say before he say it. And anytime he open his mouth, he just expose himself to problem in court. Well, anyway, Patches, you have a good night. Until safe drive home until next week when we meet. Good night.
Yes, good night, my brother, until we meet. Patches, I hope that the people of this country is thinking and watching what's going on in this country, reads this email. The Attorney General said that before the end of last year, they were going to have Freedom of Information and the Integrity in Public Life Act passed. This is 2023 and not a word as to why it was postponed. I think they are trying to hide their assets and their money. They are not fooling nobody. They are preparing themselves first. Reads this email. As we wind down tonight's program in my Straight Dog family, perhaps take one more call, just one more call, if anyone is out there willing to make their last contribution. But as I said, there are difficult days ahead. Yes, there are difficult days ahead. And as we said, no injunction can turn us around. I say that like Martin Luther King said. No injunction can turn us around. There will be some difficult days ahead. But I want to say to you, my Straight Dog family, as I said on more than one occasion for the night, I'll say it lastly, or for one more time, that the God on the mountaintop is the same God on the valley. Let's take this and make this my final call for tonight. Call you live.
I turn a love to the joy of the happiness. I'm glad I could be back into your program before the night go in. I want to get something on this quote over your outline there. You say we are dealing with a oath that was taken by the Attorney General. Remember, the oath is not in the creation of protecting the interests of the people, but the interests of the state. You remember that? That's what the oath is based on. The oath, what the Attorney General take is not the oath of the people, it's the oath of the state. He's protecting the state. He's the legal pro bono for the administration, not for the people.
Well, he's expected to create a bond within the nation or the federation.
As dialogue go by powerfully, but in the context, they are not basically for the people, and you know that. Anyway, I just want to make this a standard of court, because those oaths need to be challenged at a certain level. They're not basically the oath for governing what needs to be governed in the interest of the people. So I think this is a code we need to check in when we go into constitutional change. If you're sending yourself to be representative of the people, you see there must be knowing what status code have you brought into community development. And these are the avenues we have to stable when it comes to these people taking these legal jobs as the context of government and going into private sectors. Because I realize some of these things happening in the private sector too. A lot of legal luminaries going on board with private sectors and to enhance things against the workers them. And this is what we say. This year, 88th anniversary is the indication of changes the strike that was made in 1935. So I hope our people have this vision to stand for the right and not let nobody brutalize them or chastise them because they go and vote for this party or you vote for a party. It's not about a party, it's about a nation development. So Attorney General and the Prime Minister are let our ego and let us start build a nation. Give time for the guidance anywhere going on.
Thank you very much. Guidance as well to you, my brother. And I understand what you said about the oath, but what's really concerning, though, are the double standards of those who are charged with the responsibility to uphold and preserve the Constitution of St. Kitts and Nevis and the law. An oath of office is not merely or not a mere formality. It is a pledge that whoever takes the oath understands the requirements of the position and will work to meet or exceed those requirements. All those taking the oath must fully consider the meaning of the oath and all its important implications. This more so is expected of the principal or the chief legal advisor to the current administration. It's important he understands that.
Oath of office. I, Garth Lucian Wilkin, do swear that I will honor, uphold, and preserve the Constitution of St. Christopher and Nevis, and the law, that I will conscientiously, impartially, and to the best of my abilities, discharge my duties as Senator in the National Assembly, and do right to all manner of people, without fear or favor, affection or ill will. So help me God.
But the question is, can the Attorney General Garth Lucian Wilkin, on one hand, before the nation, hold the Bible in his right hand and say to the nation that he will honor, uphold, and preserve the Constitution of St. Kitts and Nevis and the law? This is what he said.
Oath of office. I, Garth Lucian Wilkin, do swear that I will honor, uphold, and preserve the Constitution of St. Christopher and Nevis, and the law, that I will conscientiously, impartially, and to the best of my abilities, discharge my duties as Senator in the National Assembly, and do right to all manner of people, without fear or favor, affection or ill will. So help me God.
I might be publicly embarrassing some people, which might actually be worse than going to prison. I'm contemplating whether I should do that, and I'm minded more so about 70-30 to embarrass some people who might not have been corrupt, but were, I don't want to use the word I used earlier, but not very friendly towards our treasury, and I'm not going to tolerate that, and I'm going to embarrass some people.
And that's the double standards. He took the oath and made a commitment to do right to all manner of people without fear or favor, affection or ill will. And with his Bible in his hand, you heard him? So help him God. And weeks after, he wants to embarrass people. Good night, Mr. Patches. My final email I'll read. Another good show tonight. Continue fighting the good fight for what you believe in. Do not be deterred and never be afraid of a bully. Every bully eventually meets another bully that is swifter and cunning than a snake. You shall overcome, Garth Lucian Wilkin, who carries the mail and is unable to deliver it. Mr. Wilkin is running scared of the truth. So he's running to the court to wipe the snoot or snot from his nose like the little immature kid that he is. Know that all is well. The only thing to be afraid of is fear itself. Have a good night and continue to stand tall even if you stand alone. Read this email. And again, as I wind down, by taking the oath of office. Garth Lucian Wilkin made a formal promise. He made a solemn commitment and invoked the name of God to demonstrate his sincere intention to fulfill that promise or commitment. This meant that the oath did not only bind the Attorney General to the laws of man, but to a higher moral authority as well. So I believe the Attorney General is the one who is shaking in his boots, and he should be, because in any other cabinet, he would have been dismissed for his total disregard for the oath of office. His actions and public utterances since becoming the principal legal advisor to the Jew Labor Administration are nothing short of being most outrageous. My Straight Talk family, take my word tonight. It is going to get worse. And only when this arrogant, immature Attorney General is relieved of his position, then, and only then, he will understand that the oath of office which he took is a solemn commitment to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. That's my story tonight, my Straight Talk family, and I am not going to change it. Until we connect on Thursday for another edition of Straight Talk, be good to yourselves and to all whom you meet. I thank you for the support, many of you who called. I know I haven't told you the story, but I'm bound to keep it between my lawyer and I. But the story will one day come out, and we will all talk about that story. But until Thursday, when we connect, have yourself the best of what's left of tonight. Be good to all whom you meet. Have yourselves a good rest as well. And remember that whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you got to believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light and thank him for taking you to the night. And my Straight Dog family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Thursday. In the morning, safely through the night, fool. That's got me here. That I will achieve. Do the things I should. So I keep moving on.